Hello, Rupa here from Crafters Corner. Today I'm going to share a video tutorial on a product which is one of its kind. This is the Homedecor wood tint. At first when I received this from Shalini, I was like skeptical, what am I going to do with this? I have actually sat on this product for over 2 months now, not touching it, and then I decided to do something and I'm totally in love with this product. This is a wood stain and this particular color is walnut. So if you see, the wood stains normally are translucent, it's very watery. These are water based. However, when they dry, it is permanent. So you don't have to worry about cleaning your brushes or cleaning your surface. You can just wipe it off with water. This is the walnut color, and then it's more to be used only on wood. This product is to be used, obviously it's a wood tint and you would use it on wood. It's amazing where you can give an instant old look to brand new wood. Now you can ask me, why do you want something to look good? And if you're going to ask me, I'm a vintage person. I love anything that is vintage. I love anything that is old. So there's nothing new about my creations that way. All new things become old in my hands. So I was obviously so happy to receive this. So let me just stop bragging about this and just show you what can be done with this. And I'm sure you will love this product. Wood tint it is, and I have some scrap wood candle holders with me. These are the tall, the bar candle kind of holders, the tall ones. I get the wood scraps from a wholesale dealer here, and then I have cut it to the size I want. You can see how rough and raw this wood is. It is obviously pallet wood scraps. And what we are going to do with this wood tint, this is going to become this. So how do you like that? Hang on and we will get into the process. So I have this raw wood which I've just sanded to make it a little smooth. All you need is a brush. Take any old brush and let's keep this aside. What you need to do is take the tint and then brush it as you would normally do with any paint. As you can see, the tint seeps through the wood grains. You need to give it time to settle down, about a minute or so. It tints the wood and at the same time you see the grains. Isn't that wonderful? Now you can ask me, what is the difference between using a wood tint and using brown paint? Well, when you use brown paint, this is what happens. It's opaque, right? Your brown paint is opaque. You kind of cover the entire surface, you cover the grains. So obviously you don't get to see the wood grains when you're using paint. Whereas when you use this wood tint, look at the beauty. Look at the beauty of the wood grains. Isn't that what we want to see when you're working on wood? There's no point in covering the entire wood with paint, especially when it is this kind of scrap wood and where you can see the grains. Obviously you need to show it off, and tint is the way to do. So let me show you more of this. And walnut is a beautiful color. I've always been in love with walnut stain when it came to distress inks. That was the first ink pad that I bought, and I'm so glad Shalini sent me the walnut stain. It's like coming whole circle in terms of vintage stuff. You will instantly see how this wood turns old. I will show you a comparison once it has been tinted fully. There's no smell, there's no odor, absolutely easy to work with. And one last side, and then I will show you a comparison of the before and after of the tinting. I love the fact that there is so much scope for you to work on this surface even after tinting. So It's not like you cover it with paint and then you decoupage or you give texture. You can leave it as it is to give it a nice teak wood kind of look. See the difference now. Old wood turned into, new wood turned into old wood. In fact, you don't get to see much of the grains here, but here when you tint it, the grains are just highlighted. Isn't that a beauty? Let me cover the entire surface, the top and the bottom. Allow it to dry and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so I am back after tinting both the candle holders. You can see how beautiful they look. The grains are all highlighted. This, I'm sure, is not possible with the paints or any other medium. You need to use a stain to do this. If you think the tint is a little dark, then you can just go about rubbing it with a piece of rag cloth. Again, if you wish to have it a little darker, you can give another coat. So when you rub this, before it dries, you can remove the stain to a certain extent, and this will kind of dilute the look. You can see the difference. This is a little lighter than this one. Yeah, and I think the lighter one looks good. The grains are getting highlighted even more. So let me give this one also a rub. Now comes the decision as to what you want to do further on this. I discovered that I liked doing dry brushing on this because I didn't want to cover again the entire thing with paint and then camouflage the grains. I wanted the tint also to be seen, the grains also to be seen. Yes, I wanted to have it all. So I've decided to do dry brushing. When you do dry brushing, you get this lovely effect. So the grains are there, you can see the tint and you can see the color a bit. So this gives a nice kind of whitewashed, distressed kind of look. But then it's not white wood. You know what I'm saying? It's not that bright, the light brown wood here. It becomes the dark wood kind of finish, and that's precisely the look that we're going to work on. So ready? For this project, this candle holder, I'm thinking of a dry brushing this chalk paint which is called Summer Porch, because I already have one in peach and one in teal. So I thought as a trio, this kind of yellow will look good. So I have the chalk paint with me. As you know, in dry brushing, very little paint is enough. And what is dry brushing? I've been getting a lot of queries on that too. Firstly, for dry brushing, you need a flat brush. The broader, the better. Gives a good effect. And it has to be totally dry, the brush. The bristles have to be dry. So wash it and keep it ready before you're going to start your project so that the bristles are totally dry, or then use your heat gun to dry up the bristles. Now, for the dry brushing, you're going to load only the tip of your bristles with paint, not load the entire brush. It's only the tip that is going to get loaded. So as you can see, I have this on the lid. All that I'm doing is tapping the bristles on that, going to remove off the excess. Here you can see. You tap it to an extent that there is less or absolutely no paint in the bristles. Okay, and what you do is feather touch strokes. The more the textured the surface, the better the outcome. You have the creases, the grooves, all the highlighted portions, all those raised portions take the color and gives you a nice weathered look. So you can see the difference of that side and this side. Okay, so I'm not going to take more color, whatever is there on the mat. You want a little more color to be seen, you go on this again and again, another layer. You will notice that as I'm doing and stroking on the wood, the edges also get distressed. You can still see the grains, right? Let's come to this side. Okay, lovely. Look at this. I somehow love dry brushing. It's one of the easiest way to distress wood and give it that aged look. Okay, so how much you want the color to be seen is totally your call. You'll end up with something which is totally covered with paint. This is the same wood. This side has been tinted with the stain and this side has been covered with paint. You can see absolutely there's nothing much that you can see. Let me do some dry brushing on this also. Nothing. So it's just an opaque base with some streaks here and there, which you could do on any surface. Why waste a wooden piece for that? You get me? When the wood has got its grooves, flaunt it. So that's what we're trying to do here. Flaunt the grooves. Stain and dry brushing. What more can you ask? It's a beautiful combination with a dark base, and then you go over it with a very light color. I think we are done. No doubt, it still reflects the beauty of the wood. At the same time, you've done your distressing, aged the wood, tinted it, and then done some dry brushing. So what next? What do you think I should be doing next? Which is Alibaba. Like I said, it's got some lovely patterns. I'm thinking of running this particular pattern around the center, for which I'm going to use sheepskin, my one more favorite from the chalk paints. This is white, almost not exactly white, and I'm using the stencil brush. Now I want to show you one particular method of using this kind of stencil brush. So you load the stencil brush with paint, remove of the excess, and I see people pouncing it on. Well, that is another way, but then the more appropriate way to load paint onto the surface using this brush is to go in a circular motion. So you have very little paint at the moment, and when you do in circular motion, especially on wood, it gives a nice kind of, again, distressed feeling. So the paint is almost very little paint on the brush, so you wouldn't have anything seeping through the stencil. So go in circular motions and you will see the effect. Okay, so that's kind of the effect that you will get. So there's a very thin layer of paint which has been stenciled on, especially when you do the circular motion. Okay, so let me show you one more time. I'm going to place the stencil here. Okay, and then loading the brush, removing the excess, and then you go about in circular motion. As simple as that. Okay, so here we go. Just the kind of distressed stenciling on a distressed background. Isn't that cool? Okay, let me finish the entire thing. Here it is. I have done the stenciling all around, and yes, I need to cover this with the tint. I shall do that, and then give it a coat of satin varnish. Now this is an unvarnished piece, whereas this is a varnished piece. You can see a slight difference. The brown, the tint that we gave, gets a little highlighted, gets a darker tone once you give the coat of varnish over it, and then it kind of seals the entire project. So let me do this and then come back. I'll give a coat of varnish, and then let's see what I'm planning to do with this. I have something in mind. I shall share that with you. Handle holders, dry brushing, and then stenciling, and also giving them a varnish. This is how it looks. This was done with summer porch, and this was done with patina, And for the peach color, I've mixed a little bit of Imperial and Summer Porch. So when I mixed these two colors, I got a lovely peach shade, which is what has been dry brushed on this smallest one. So this is how the trio looks. I'll have more pictures at the end. And I have used the Alibaba stencil to do the stenciling with sheepskin. And then now coming to the teak finish one, the walnut stained one, where I didn't do any dry brushing. I just cut out a chipboard piece and then decoupaged floral tissue, and then both the sides I have stuck that. That's as simple as this one is, because I thought the walnut stain, the color as such, is such a grand one, the dark brown. I didn't want to do anything, and then just kept these vintage florals. So I think this looks by itself a nice piece. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you. Though the stain is water based, it is permanent after drying. I have not varnished this particular piece just to show you that this does not react with water later. So I've just taken a spritzer, spritzing water here. There's a white tissue, and then I'm wiping. You can see that there is no discoloration, and there's no color has been picked up from the wood block. So this is permanent after drying. However, when we use it as a home decor, it's always nice to seal it with a coat of varnish. So for all these candle holders, I have given one coat of the satin finish varnish. So you can choose to do that. So isn't that a lovely project to do with stain? I have one more surprise for you. And I have the small pen holder. I don't know if you can capture this in the video this way. Nevertheless, yeah. So this is a pen holder. Same, the block of wood has been stained first with walnut, and then I've dry brushed with sheepskin, and then I did the stenciling. So this is how the block of wood looked before the treatment, and just look at the difference. Look at the difference. I am so in love with this project of using a stain, and then I drilled a hole just to keep a small little planter. I always love greenery on my desk, so I think this really pops up against this dark brown.